So I'm moving in a couple of days and I have not packed a single thing, and as you can see I have a ton of books, and I'm honestly just wanting to do a brutal unhaul of everything I own and only keep things that I really enjoy, and that is going to include books. I own copies of over 100 books that I haven't read yet, and I want to be so brutally honest with myself and get rid of books that I don't think I'm going to read anytime soon or ever. So many books have been sitting on my shelves for years, and at this point I just have to accept the fact that I'm not going to read them. And of course I have a ton of books that I have read, and I'm probably not going to get rid of very many of those, but if I didn't enjoy a book, there's no reason for me to keep it. And I have just a couple of duplicate books, and I just don't always need that. So if there's a book that I have a duplicate of, I'm going to think pretty hard about getting rid of it. I think I'm most excited and nervous about going through my TBR. I hate the idea of getting rid of books, but I just have to be realistic, and I am excited because I've been seeing Jamie do these videos where she speed dates her TBR. She's basically reading the first paragraph or maybe the first page of each book and deciding if she wants to keep it or not. Actually, I don't think she's doing an on-haul. I think she's just using it to kind of see what books on her TBR are the most interesting to her at the moment. But I want to do that today for any books that I'm kind of iffy on, which I think is honestly going to be a lot of them. I think it's such a great, fun idea. I just love the idea of sitting here and reading the first page of a book and seeing if it hooks me or not. And if it just doesn't intrigue me enough, then it's got to go. So let's just go ahead and get started, and we'll start on this big bookshelf behind me, which is mostly books that I have read. Let's get a little closer. Okay, so this is kind of a bit of an awkward camera angle, but we're going to go through the first half of this bookshelf real quick. This top half is all pretty much read books, so I don't know if I'm going to get rid of too many. Right here, I do have two books that are next to each other that I didn't love, so I think I need to get rid of these. The first is Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. This is the only book that I've read by her, and actually I DNF'd it at I think like 30%. I just found this to be incredibly boring and confusing, and I just don't think that her writing style is for me. I think it's a pretty cover, but she has to go. And then this one definitely pains me a little bit. This is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. This one I really enjoyed the first half of. I was so into it. I thought it was really gripping. And then I don't know if my mood just changed or what, but the second half I just didn't love so much. My thoughts are obviously a little bit conflicted on this one. I don't think it's a bad book. I just didn't love it as much as I wanted to. So I think I'm gonna rehome this. Hopefully somebody else will really enjoy this. And then the rest of this shelf is really a lot of my favorites, except for The Last Year of the War. This is a historical fiction. It's actually the first historical fiction I've ever read, and I didn't like absolutely love it. It's not a favorite of mine, but I did enjoy it, so I think I'm gonna keep it just because it was a good book and it was my first historical fiction, and my bestie and roommate Kat also picked it out for me to read. So this one is not a love, but I'm still gonna keep it. I mean, if we're being honest, there's a ton of books that I'm going to keep that I don't love, but I enjoy them. I don't have to absolutely love a book, but I have to have at least given it like a 3-star or above, and it has to be something that I want in my collection. There's not really a real basis for how I'm determining if I'm going to get rid of a book or not. Moving on, we have a bunch more of my favorite books, a lot of fantasy here. I do have in the corner here the paperbacks of Legends and Lattes and Bookshops and Bone Dust, which I love those books. They are 5 stars. I love these so much, and you may see that I have special edition hardcovers right here of those same books. This is one where I'm kind of on the fence. I don't know if I want to get rid of the paperbacks just because these are books that I picture myself rereading a lot, and I just much prefer reading a paperback. So I'm not sure. We're gonna put a pin in that one. Don't pressure me. I didn't love One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake, but I did enjoy it, and it's also a very beautiful book. I of course have my beautiful UK editions of Once Upon a Broken Heart. I would never get rid of these, and Caraval. Big Stephanie Garber fan over here. Then we have the 3 books that are currently out in the Fourth Wing series, which I loved book 1. I was okay about book 2, and I just didn't really enjoy book 3, and I've decided to stop the series. As of right now, I don't think I'm gonna get rid of any of them. Maybe eventually I will get rid of books 2 and 3 and just keep book 1 because I loved it so much, and I feel like it was such a big moment that I don't necessarily feel ready to get rid of the books yet. And maybe I'm a little bit partial to the sprayed edges, which is silly, but I definitely don't love these. Just had to put that out there. And then I have the regular US hardcovers of Once Upon a Broken Heart, and I actually think I'm gonna get rid of these because why would I need to have 2 hardcover versions of the same series? And these covers aren't bad, but I don't love them, and I am obsessed with the UK ones I have here, so I just don't need these, and somebody else will love them. So this is kind of crazy, I feel like. I've always had a Stephanie Garber shrine with all of her books and multiples of different ones, so it feels a bit weird to be getting rid of them, but I am totally okay with it. Moving on, I have some perfume bottles over here, so I don't know how well you can see, but I do have a little stack over here. And the one book I'm kind of on the fence about is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, because contrary to popular opinion, I didn't love that book. I was actually quite bored. I have kept it because I think that she's beautiful, and I didn't hate it, but I just really feel like it dragged on and I didn't love it. So like, it sounds like I should get rid of it, but I kind of don't want to. Let me take a look at it. She is covered in a layer of thick dust. You know what? Now that it's in my hand, I think I have to get rid of it. The whole point of today is to be very brutal, and I didn't love this book, so why would I have it here? It's not like seeing this pretty cover is bringing me any sort of joy, so. Okay, now we have this much better angle going on here. This is one half of my rainbow shelf of romances and general fiction, and I really shouldn't have too many books on here that I don't love, but let's just take a look. Oh, definitely for sure, let's get rid of this bad boy, which is The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. I really did not enjoy this book, so I don't think I need to explain anymore. I just didn't like it, so she's going away. Oh! There goes one of my absolute favorite books, Taylor Jenkins Reid. No, that's her name. What's the book called? Carrie Soto is back. Anyways, Mrs. Nash's Ashes. I think that I actually DNF'd this. Did not love this. I found the male character to be insufferable, so I have heard good things about this woman's writing, so maybe I'll revisit one of her other books, but this one is a no for me. Why do I have all these books that I just didn't love? Why didn't I get rid of these? Don't know. I think I'm gonna get rid of The Pumpkin Spice Cafe because this is an adorable book, but I just didn't love it. This just isn't the kind of book for me. I feel like it was all spice, no plot. I mean, these are pitched as Hallmark movies in a book, so I don't think that I could have expected anything much better than this. And I'm not saying that it's a horrible book and that nobody would enjoy it. I think that a lot of people love this. I just didn't. And I don't think it's worth keeping it just for the cute cover, so away she goes. Ooh, tender is the flesh. Definitely not getting rid of this. I just feel like I've never really talked about this. This book is crazy. So good, but insane. You may lose your lunch if you read this. Just be warned. You know what? I hated this book. I really feel like I suffered my way through this. It is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. I just am so far not a dark academia girl. It sounds like something that I would love, and I really want to be a dark academia girl, but as far as I've read, I'm not a big fan, and this was just one of those books that I feel like I should have DNF'd, but for some reason I was forcing myself to push my way through. And she's pretty. What was that? I thought someone was trying to break in. Enough said about this one. I know the point of this was to be brutal, but I feel like I'm being really mean. But I guess that's really what you asked for when you clicked on this. I'm just here to do my job. Okay, another dark academia book that I didn't love and I also think is kind of ugly is The It Girl by Ruth Ware. This was similar, dark academia, murder mystery. I didn't hate this one as much as I did If We Were Villains, but I just didn't love it. Got a lot of mystery thrillers here and two that I did not love. First is Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick. This was short, but also really boring. I feel like this book was written for men. I think that's my dog barking. Pause, please. It was him. I just noticed that my dirty slipper was in the frame. Brendan saw that I was getting rid of this and he wants to keep it. So I think I was just saying that for some reason, this book just feels like it was written for men.
Fair enough.
Which I think is why I didn't like it. And it was boring. The other one is The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. My friend Chloe and I read this book together and she enjoyed it. I didn't. I thought it was okay, but it was kind of slow paced and boring, even though it was also very gory and kind of a lot going on at the same time. And I found the end to be so infuriating. So it just really pissed me off. Oh my God, you can see my slipper again. I have to move those. I'm sorry, Chloe, but I just have to get rid of it. This book irks me. Another one that feels bad to get rid of is The Woman in the Library because my bestie Mick got this for me and she never read it, so I don't think she would really be offended. But this was okay. It's like a murder mystery that I just remember is not very long, but it felt very long. It definitely dragged on and I wasn't super intrigued. I don't even remember how it ended. I just know that I did not love this as much as I wanted to because it had been on my TBR for a really long time, which is why she got it for me, so I was kind of disappointed by it. Then I'm not sure about these ones. We have Hooked and Scarred by Emily McIntyre. These are part of the Never After series, which is very, very loosely inspired by Disney movies. Hooked is about Peter Pan, and I didn't love this book, but it was a wild ride and I enjoyed it. And Scarred, on the other hand, this was crazy. I didn't love this book. I just remember that I did not like at all how our male main character spoke to our female main character, and I just thought it was really weird. It's inspired by The Lion King, but it's real people. This one was just a little too much for me, and I'm just not really a dark romance girly, so this one was a bit jarring for me, and I'm gonna get rid of this one for sure. But this one was crazy and fun and unhinged, so I think I'm gonna keep it because I had a wild time reading it, and it was enjoyable. It was just kind of like, what the heck is going on? Then we have a ton of, I think this is almost all fantasy that's unread, and if I am being realistic, I probably won't be getting to a lot of these for a really long time. Like Priory of the Orange Tree. This book book is gigantic and I am terrified of it, but I definitely want to read it at some point. I feel like this would be such an accomplishment. And I know it's actually really not that big. It's just formatted kind of weird. Probably would be more like a 500-page book if it was formatted like a normal book. I just at least keep telling myself that. And same thing with the Daughter of No Worlds books by Carissa Broadbent. I've heard very mixed things about these and they are also pretty long, so I don't know. I think I'm going to speed date this one, and if I don't love it, I may need to get rid of that series. Then everything else, the Atlas 6, maybe I'll speed date this one as well, just because I've had this for forever and I've never actually had the urge to read it. Same with Daisy Darker. I picked this up one time and I just wasn't in the mood for it, so I put it back down. And I'm not sure if it's just the setting and the writing or if I just really wasn't in the mood for it. Another really awkward angle. Also, if you saw fuzz on the floor, my room's just a complete disaster. Let's just please ignore that. I think I might get rid of Ready Player One. I bought this because my brother really loves this, but I just don't know that I'm ever gonna read it. It just isn't actually interesting to me. Then I have Fable and Namesake by Adrienne Young, who is the same author as The Unmaking of June Farrow, and I've heard amazing things about her writing. This is a young adult series, and I think it is about pirates. I'm gonna add this to the speed date pile. Then we have, this is kind of like my nostalgic shelf. I'm not gonna get rid of anything. We have Percy Jackson, The Hunger Games, and Harry Potter. Definitely keeping all of those. And then up here, we have a lot of young adult mysteries. I'm gonna get rid of Truly Devious because I just didn't enjoy this. I felt bamboozled by the ending, and I definitely did not want to continue the series. People absolutely love this series, so I think that somebody will love this, but I just don't need to keep it on my shelves. I'm kind of on the fence about A Good Girl's Guide to Murder because I enjoyed book one. I didn't love it as much as a lot of other people do. I thought book two was pretty good, and then book three I absolutely hated. I had such a horrible, visceral reaction to that book, which is funny because some people absolutely love it. And if you do, I'm glad that you love it. I'm glad that the series ended in a way that you like it, but I just did not. But I feel like it's such a pivotal, like, book talk, book two book. And I don't know if book one really got me into reading, but for some reason I just feel like, ooh, I should hold on to it. Maybe I will keep book one and get rid of books 2 and 3. I feel like that's a fair trade. The pile of books is just growing so quickly. Last row on this bookshelf, we do have The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels, which is a book that I DNF'd, but for some reason I have kept it up here because I feel like this was a case of just wrong book, wrong time, or right book, wrong time. And one, I think the cover is gorgeous. It's giving Bridgerton, and I just thought it was so whimsical and fun. And I like the idea of this book, and I kind of liked the author's writing, but at the same time I was kind of bored. So part of me wants to give this another shot, but then I also feel like I got too far into it and I'm probably never gonna read this again. I should probably just get rid of this. It's so cute, but I'm gonna get rid of it. I'm gonna get rid of way more books than I thought I was going to. Then we have the Twisted series, which I actually got rid of book 4, which I hadn't read yet and I knew I was just never gonna read. I read books 1 and 2 kind of at the beginning of my reading journey and I really enjoyed them, and then I actually did not enjoy book 3. And while I feel like these books just don't really reflect my book taste anymore, I think that maybe I'll keep books 1 and 2 and get rid of book 3 because I have no reason to keep this one. I didn't really enjoy Love in the Time of Serial Killers, but this is the cutest cover ever. And I mean, I didn't hate it. I just didn't love it. So I think I'm gonna keep it. I think I'm gonna keep everything else. So we're done with this bookshelf. I am back from an unexpected This place keeps scaring me. What's happening here? Okay. As I was trying to say, I am back from an unexpected dinner break, ready to tackle the physical TBR, which is what the majority of this is. I think that every single one of these is an unread book. Maybe there's one that's snuck its way in here that I have read, but this is where I want to try my best to be pretty brutal. If I don't think I'm going to read a book, I don't want to keep it. I do have these two, which are very similar. I've had them for so long and I have never... Actually, that's not true. I was about to say I've never had the urge to pick them up, but I actually did start, I think, the Final Girls support group. So I have this one and Final Girls, and as you can tell by the cover and the name, these are very similar. Actually, I'm very curious. I want to see which one came out first. The Riley Sager book came out in 2017. Okay, this one came out in 2021, so I wonder if there was a little bit of like copycat situation going on here. That's just me speculating because these have very similar premise, I think. Premises. I don't know what they're called. What's really important is the fact that these two books have very similar plots as far as I'm aware. And I've had both of these for a really long time. And honestly, I feel like part of the reason I've never really reached for them is that I have two of the same book, I feel like. This one was gifted to me by Kat, so I feel bad, but I think I'm gonna let this one go. I actually did pick this up and I tried reading it once and I just couldn't get into it. I just felt kind of bored. It definitely wasn't the type of mystery thriller that had me gripped from the beginning. And overall, I've just heard better things about Riley Sager than I have about Grady Hendrix. This one is rated higher on Goodreads, and I just feel like this is the one that I am going to gravitate towards more. And I feel like now that I have this in my hands and I am picking this over the other one, maybe I will be more likely to actually read this. I mean, I'm not really that intrigued to read 1984 or Fahrenheit 451, but they're just books that I feel like I have to read at some point, so I will keep them. The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. I think I'm going to put this one in the speed dating pile. From this section alone, we are getting rid of one book, and I have put 4 in the speed dating pile. Moving on to this middle one, I definitely think Masters of Death, I'm kind of just leaning towards getting rid of, but I think I'll put it in the speed dating pile just to give it a chance. Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. I think that I am going to get rid of this one because I've never read a book by Lauren Asher, and I have this one, and right here I have the fine print, and this is the first book in her Dreamland Billionaire series, and then Love Redesigned is her next series, and they I don't think are interconnected. I think that you can read these out of order, it doesn't matter, but all of her books are pretty thick for romance books. This has to be at least 500 pages. Yeah, it's like 515 pages, and to me that is just entirely too long for a romance. And if I do read her books, I'm definitely not going to start with this one. I'm going to start with the fine print, and I just feel like I have had these books for so long, I'm probably not going to get to them if I'm being realistic, but I do want to give this one a chance. So I was going to say I'll just keep this one, but I guess I'm going to put it in the speed dating pile. I feel like this shelf is halfway empty now. The rest of the books that are gone are going in the speed dating pile, and I'm not going to go through them right now because I'm going to go through them later. And I don't want to get repetitive. Indigo Ridge, you know, I think I'm going to get rid of you. I tried to read this book and I got maybe a quarter of the way through, maybe 30% of the way through, but this book was just not my kind of romance. I am struggling to come up with words. I don't totally dislike or hate a book just because it's very spice heavy, but I feel like I have to, one, enjoy the writing style. I just don't feel like I really enjoyed it, and I just felt like our characters had no depth. As far as I got, literally all they were thinking was, I want to get in that person's pants. I think this one's just a no, since I did already try it and I decided to quit. I thought maybe I would come back to it, but I just don't think I will. By a Thread by Lucy Score. This is another book that I feel like is probably very similar. I've heard that her books are very spicy. This is kind of like Lauren Asher. Her books are so thick for a romance book. Like, why is a romance book 500 pages? I'm sure that people who love her writing can't get enough of it, and maybe this isn't long enough, but to me, this is too much for a romance book, and I just feel like I've had this for so long. I've never once had the urge to pick it up. Somebody from work convinced me to read it. Well, they convinced me to buy it. They didn't convince me to actually read it, and I just don't think I ever will. I do have a Christmas book by Lucy Score, which is The Christmas Fix, and I think I'll keep this one. It's also like, actually it's not very thick at all. I'd say this is a very normal sized romance book. This is another book that I've had for a couple of years, a couple of Christmas seasons. So I think that I'm gonna leave it. And if I don't read it this Christmas, then maybe I'll get rid of it. Then I have 2 like book talk cult classics, which are Addicted to You and Love in Other Words. And I don't know why, but I feel like I might not like these. And I've had them for quite a long time. I have kind of been saving them for, I've had in my head this video of like reading OG book talk books for so long, and I don't know if I'm ever gonna film that, but that is why I bought these. I just have this gut feeling that I might not like them. I just want to at least read the first page and see, like, if I right away don't like the writing style, then I'm gonna get rid of them. The last place that I'm gonna check real quick to see if I have any books that I'm not interested in is my TBR cart. I really don't think that I'm gonna have a book on here that I don't want to read, because this is where I try to keep my priority TBR. Yeah, I think just as I suspected, thankfully I am still very interested in all of these. So that was easy. We're done with that. It's getting pretty late, so I think I'm gonna do the speed dating of the books that I'm iffy about tomorrow. But so far we have a pretty big stack. These are all of the books that I am going to speed date and get rid of if they do not spark joy, excitement, interest, any of those things. And then I have, I would say, an equally large, if not larger, stack of books that I'm just gonna get rid of. So this is feeling pretty good. Like, I didn't expect to get rid of so many books so far. So I'm really intrigued to see how the speed dating goes tomorrow and how many books I end up getting rid of overall. But I am getting tired, so I will do that tomorrow. Hey, so it's a couple days later. Don't know if you can tell, but things are starting to get a little chaotic. Normally I would make my bed and try and look presentable, but I just can't even try right now. I do have a giant TV right behind me there, but that is okay because this is one of the only parts of the move that I'm honestly excited about, because it's about books, so of course. But we have a ton of books over here, and these are all the books that I'm either gonna get rid of or that I am on the fence about that I want to speed date right now. There's a lot. I'm honestly so surprised by how many we have here. So I just want to get right into the speed dating because there's a lot lot to go through, I think. And I'm gonna read out loud the first paragraph, maybe the first page. I don't know how much I'm gonna include because I don't want this video to be 5 years long. Starting with Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren, just because this was at the top of the stack. This one, I feel like the writing might not be for me. We're just gonna have to see. I could love it, or it could be really just not my vibe. We're starting with a prologue. My dad was a lot taller than my mother, and I mean a lot. He was 6'5" and my mom was just over 5'3". Danish big and Brazilian petite. When they met, she didn't speak a word of English, but by the time she died when I was 10, it was almost as if they'd created their own language. I don't love the Danish big Brazilian petite. So far it's cringe to me personally at this time. I just feel like we came in strong with the my dad's such a big man and my mom is such a small little girl. Danish big and Brazilian petite. But part of me has just always wanted to read this just so that I could compare, because this is like such a staple book in like the book talk, booktube world. But if I'm being honest, I'm probably never gonna read it, and that really didn't like make me want to read it more than I currently do. So I guess we're starting off with a goodbye. Then we have Addicted to You by Christina and Becca Ritchie. I'm afraid that I could feel the same way about this one, but I've heard just so many amazing things, like even more than Love in Other Words. People love this series. So I wake up, my shirt crumpled on a fuzzy carpet, my shorts astray on a dresser, and I think my underwear is lost for good. Oh God. Somewhere between the folds of the sheets or maybe hidden by the doorway. I can't remember when I took them off or if that was even my doing. Maybe he undressed me. I'm gonna have to read a little more to understand what's going on. Okay, I'm finding myself on page 2 because I just am continuing to read. Honestly, I couldn't put it down. I kept reading on to page 2 until I realized I was not here to read the whole chapter. I was just supposed to read a paragraph. So I'm gonna keep this, but I honestly don't really see myself reading it anytime soon, but I think that just made me a little bit more excited for it. Then we have The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell, which is a thriller, so we are switching genres here. It would be inaccurate to say that my childhood was normal before they came. It was far from normal, but it felt normal because it was all I'd known. It's only now, with decades of hindsight, that I can see how odd it was. I was nearly 11 when they came, and my sister was 9. They lived with us for more than 5 years, and they turned everything very, very dark. My sister and I had to learn how to survive, and when I was 16, my sister was 14, the baby came. I mean, it's not the craziest of intros to a thriller, but it's not bad. I'm kind of intrigued. This is one that I definitely thought was going to go straight into the bye-bye pile, but I have read one Lisa Jewell book, which was None of This Is True, and I did enjoy that one, and that just got me a little bit more excited. Like, I had no idea what this was about, and now it's obviously about these two girls who grow up and these weirdos move into their move into their upstairs, like, I don't know, apartment or something. I'm kind of intrigued, not gonna lie. I'm gonna keep it. Another thriller, we have The Maidens by Alex Michaelides, the author of The Silent Patient, which I read years ago and loved. I also actually have to read his newest book, which is The Fury, this month for my work book club. But this one I've just never really had the urge to pick up, and I've had it for quite a while. Edward Fosco was a murderer. This was a fact. This wasn't something Mariana knew just on an intellectual level as an idea. Her body knew it. She felt it in her bones along her I can't speak today. Maybe not a good day to be reading out loud. She felt it in her bones, along her blood, and deep within every cell. Edward Fosco was guilty, and yet she couldn't prove it and might never prove it. I feel like that is an equally decent start to a mystery thriller, and since I am gonna read a book by him this month, I feel like I might as well see if I like that one as well. Then I'll probably be convinced to read this one too. If I don't like The Fury, then maybe I'll get rid of this one, but honestly, I kind of liked the start of that. I like the idea that our main character thinks that this man is guilty, but she can't prove it. That sounds fun. I'm scared of this one, but let's do Daughter of No Worlds. So this is the first in a fantasy trilogy. So this first paragraph might be confusing and I might have no idea what's going on. But let's see. It begins with two souls who find themselves suddenly, utterly alone. Evaluate, judge, act. The young man let the words echo like a second heartbeat. He did not allow himself to acknowledge the possibility that he was going to die here. Not even as he slipped on blood, stumbled over bodies, mentally counted the men and women that had followed him into the city, but would not follow him out. I have read 2 books by Carissa Broadbent and I really liked them. So I think I definitely want to keep this one because I liked that little bit of writing that we got. Like, it didn't turn me away. And the only thing that's really intimidating me about this series, I think, is the length of it and the fact that I'm in so many series right now. But I think that if I was in the mood to start a new fantasy series, this definitely would be a strong contender. Then we have The Ice Pick Surgeon, which is a collection of true crime stories. And I never really read nonfiction. And if I do, it's usually a memoir. So this will be a first for me, but I do love true crime. I guess it just depends maybe on how entertaining I find the writing. Let's just read the first bit and see what I think. According to legend, the first unethical science experiment in history was designed by none other than Cleopatra. At some point during her reign, 51 to 30 BCE, a question arose among Egyptian scholars: where can you first tell where babies are male or female in the womb? I'm gonna end there. I don't know about this one. Yeah, if I'm being honest, I don't think I'm ever gonna read this. I did buy it from Book People in Austin on March 28th, 2023, in case anybody was wondering. Whenever I am traveling, I like to go to a local bookstore and buy something, and I leave a note of when and where I got it. And I do remember that I got this in a blind date with a book, hence why I have it, because I don't think I ever would have bought it. I think that I'm going to look this up to see if there is an audiobook for it and if it's included like in my Spotify premium membership. And if so, then I might listen to this and see if I enjoy the audiobook narrator, almost as if it was a podcast, but I don't realistically think that I could get myself to sit down and read this whole thing. This is only the second one that's going in the no pile. Then we have The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. I have had this for quite a while. I actually bought this the same day at Book People. That's kind of crazy. This is one that was another just really popular book that I bought because everybody was talking about it, but I've never really had the interest to pick it up. I read one book by Olivia Blake, which was One for My Enemy, and I enjoyed it, but I didn't absolutely love it. So I guess it didn't like totally convince me to pick up the other two books that I own by her. Why do I have so many books by this author? Don't know. This is about magicians and some sort of deadly competition. So perhaps it was a tired thing. All the references the world had already made to the, how do you say that? I'm gonna say Tilomac Royal Library of Alexandria. History had proven the library to be endlessly fascinating as a subject, either because the obsession with what it might have contained was bound only by the imagination, or because humanity longs for things most ardently as a collective. Right off the bat, I am getting tripped up, especially reading this out loud. Like, this is not flowing off the tongue very easily. Whoa. Ooh, there's artwork in here. Interesting artwork. Olivia Blake always has very beautiful books. Like, how cool is that? But I don't know about this one. I honestly think I might have to let this one go. That right there wasn't really pulling me in. I honestly was having a hard time reading it, as you could see. And I just don't see myself reaching for this anytime soon. That did not really get me excited about it. So goodbye to The Atlas 6. Next is Fable by Adrienne Young. That bastard was leaving me again. Between the trees, I could see Coy and the others kicking up sand as they pushed off the beach. The skiff slid into the water and I ran faster, my bare feet finding their way over twisted tree roots and buried rock on the path. I came through the thicket just in time to see the smirk on Coy's lips as the sail dropped down. Coy, I shouted, but if he could hear me over the sound of the waves, he didn't show it. Okay, that was interesting. I'm not like enthralled, but we have some sort of playful dynamic. We've got two main characters who are leaving each other on a beach. Yeah, I don't really know. Maybe I'm not really in the best state to be making all of these decisions because I feel like my brain is half functioning right now, but we're gonna move on. Honestly, this is another one that I don't see myself reaching for anytime really soon, but I kind of don't want to get rid of it. It's a young adult book, which really intrigues me because it could be really fast and easy to get through, but at the same time, it still can be like way too young for me. So far, this seems okay, and it seems like it could be a really fun and easy thing to kind of fly through, like just a fun, no-brainer kind of fantasy book that I could enjoy. And it's about pirates, and I've never read anything about pirates, so I feel like I am talking myself up to keep it, so we're gonna keep it. Next is Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney, which is a thriller, and I actually picked this one up and started to read it a while ago, and I did like a soft DNF. I was born with a broken heart. The day I arrived into this lonely little world was also the first time I died. Nobody spotted the heart condition back then. Things weren't as sophisticated in 1975 as they might be now, and my blue coloring was blamed on my traumatic birth. I was a breech baby. To complicate matters further, the weary doctor told my father to choose between me or my mother, explaining apologetically and with just a hint of impatience that he could only say one of us. My father, after a brief hesitation he would spend the rest of his life paying for, chose his wife, but the midwife persuaded me to breathe against all odds and my better judgment, and a hospital room full of strangers smiled when I started to cry. Everyone except for my mother. She wouldn't even look at me. Okay, so we are opening up with some sort of like family trauma, perhaps. It's not giving thriller right away. Like, it's not as maybe intense or like hinting at the fact that this is going to be a mystery or thriller like some of the other books we've already read. And I have really enjoyed Alice Feeney's books in the past, so I think I'll keep this. And the next one is The Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods, and I think that this is like a whimsical fantasy. I don't think I've ever heard anybody talk about this book. This is one that I just saw sitting at Costco for 10 bucks one day, and I thought it was really cute, and I liked the blurb on the back of the book, so I got it. The rainy streets of Dublin on a cold winter's day were no place for a young boy to dawdle, unless that very same boy had his nose pressed up against the window of the most fascinating bookshop. Lights twinkled inside, and the colorful covers called to him, promising stories of adventure and escape. The window was packed with novelties and trinkets, miniature hot air balloons almost reaching the ceiling, while music boxes with mechanical birds and carousels twirled and chimed within. The lady inside spotted him and waved him in. He shook his head and blushed slightly. "I'll be late for school," he mouthed through the glass. She nodded and smiled. She seemed friendly enough. "Just for a minute," he said, having fought the urge to go inside for all of 3 seconds. Okay, so far not giving us a whole lot. I'm sure if I read that whole prologue, it would give me more backstory, but it sounds cute. I am definitely liking the writing so far, but it is very hard to judge these based off of just a little bit, but I feel like I can tell when I don't totally love the writing. Like the two that I've picked out so far, I pretty much immediately was like, ooh, I don't think I like this. So I'm gonna keep it. Then we have The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. This is one where if I don't like it, I feel like from the very first page, I might be able to tell that I don't like the writing. I don't know what it is about romances, but I feel like maybe I'm a little particular, or maybe it's just a little bit easier to judge the writing style in a romance. I don't know. I just feel like I can make a much better quick judgment about a romance book. This must be dual point of view, and we are in Rowan's point of view, and he is a theme park owner. The last time I attended a funeral, I ended up with a broken arm. The story made headlines after I threw myself into my mother's open grave. Whoa. It's been over 2 decades since that day, and while I've completely changed as a person, my aversion to mourning hasn't. But due to my responsibilities as my late grandfather's youngest relative, I'm expected to stand tall and unbothered during his wake. It's nearly impossible with my skin itching like I'm wearing a cheap polyester suit. My patience wanes as the hours go on, with hundreds of Kane employees and business partners offering their condolences. If there's anything I hate more than funerals, it's talking to people. There are only a few individuals I tolerate, and my grandfather was one of them, and now he's gone. Huh. You know, this is not giving me the ick, so does that mean I should give it a chance? We obviously have a grumpy mailman character who just lost his grandfather, so I guess we are gonna have some grieving in this. And I'm pretty sure that this is going along the route of like a marriage of convenience or something, where he maybe has to marry our main character to get whatever his grandfather left him in his will. If it's not this one, then at least one of the books in this series is a marriage of convenience like that, which I don't think I've ever read a book like that. I guess I don't want to be too harsh and get rid of books that then later I might be curious about and just want to give a chance and then have to buy them again. And this is one that I've always been curious about. Like, I have always wanted to try Lauren Asher's writing. For some reason, I feel really hesitant about this one, but I think I'm gonna keep it for now. Maybe if I still have this a year from now and I haven't touched it, I just need to get rid of it and admit to myself that I'm never gonna read it. But I guess for now, it's safe. Moving on to The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin. This is a young adult fantasy book about witches that control the weather. Being an Everwitch means 2 things. You are powerful and you are dangerous. Everything is burning. So many flames, it looks as if we set the sky on fire. The sun has long since vanished, hidden behind a haze of smoke and ash, but its magic still rushes through me. The fire has been raging for 6 days. It started with the smallest spark and became all-consuming in the span of a breath. Flames spreading chaotic and fast as if they were being chased. Starting the fire was easy, but putting it out was something else entirely. Ooh, you know what? This seems like good fall vibes, and I'm here for it. I'm gonna keep it. Also, I feel like my voice is getting so raspy, my throat is so dry. I really should just get some water, but I don't want to get up. Wait, was that the last book? I guess that was maybe the last one, which means that out of those books that I speed dated, I am only getting rid of 3, at least right now. So doing that speed dating, I guess at least got me mildly interested in all the books, enough to want to keep them, which is good. And if I just didn't enjoy the writing of this right off the bat, then there's no reason for me to keep them. And I already have quite a big stack of books right here that I'm gonna be getting rid of. So I feel like overall, this is gonna leave me feeling so much lighter. The last thing I wanna do is go through every single book that I'm gonna be getting rid of, and then we'll wrap this up. So obviously, the 3 that I just speed dated and I'm getting rid of, we have The Atlas 6, The Ice Pick Surgeon, and Love in Other Words. Continuing with books that I haven't read yet, but I just knew right away that I was never gonna read and wanted to get rid of, we have Icebreaker. This one, I just think this is kind of similar to some of the other romances I talked about. I just feel like it's probably a bit too spicy for me, and I just don't think I'm gonna like the writing. Masters of Death by Olivia Blake, which, wow, this means I'm getting rid of 2 of her books. I didn't really mean to do that, but this one honestly has just never intrigued me ever. I don't even know why I bought it. I think that it was on sale at Walmart during Christmas time. It was really cheap, so I bought it, and I thought the cover was kind of cool, but I actually now don't really like the cover. Anyways, this one I just have never felt the urge to read. I just know in my bones I'm never gonna read this. And it could be a really great book. The premise sounds really unique, but that alone is not enough to get me to want to read it. For some reason, I'm just not into this. Then we have By a Thread by Lucy Score. I'm just not into a book that's this thick for a romance. And like Icebreaker and some of the others, I just think that one's gonna be too spicy for me. I just don't think I'm gonna like her writing. Then we have Ready Player One, which I'm getting rid of just because I don't think I'll ever read this. I'm getting rid of The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix, Indigo Ridge by Daphne Perry, and Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. I hope I don't regret this one. What if I love the fine print and then I read that whole series and I wanna move on to this one? And I got rid of it. You know what? That's the risk that I take. It could happen, and you know what? If it did happen, I don't bet that I would ever be getting to this in the next like 2 years anyways, so I'm fine with that risk. I think that those are all the books that I am getting rid of that I haven't read yet, and the rest of these are all books that I have read. Starting with The It Girl by Ruth Ware, Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson, The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. God, I hated this book. The Woman in the Library, Scarred by Emily McIntyre, The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams, Good Girl Bad Blood, and As Good as Dead from the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. I think I talked about this the other night, but I am just gonna keep book 1 because it was my favorite and I absolutely hated this one and I can't stand to have it on my shelves anymore. Mrs. Nash's Ashes, which I can never say, The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, If We Were Villains by ML Rio, The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels. This one I'm almost debating, but no. Gotta get rid of it. And then, oh, those are so far back there. Oh, I can't reach. Oh, We have my original copies of the Once Upon a Broken Heart series by Stephanie Garber, which I want to reiterate again that I love this series, but I don't need two different hardcover copies of the same series, and this is the one that's my least favorite. Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. Oh, I was gonna get rid of Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, but Brendan said that he wants it, so I don't think he's ever gonna read this, but I will set this aside for him. Twisted Hate by Anna Huang, book 3 in the Twisted series. And last but not least, Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. So that is a lot of books I'm getting rid of. Let's count them real quick. 29 books. That is pretty crazy. I'm getting rid of 29 books, and I'm surprised that the majority of them are books that I've already read. To be honest with you, I was hoping that this was gonna help me quite a bit with my number on my physical TBR, but I think that there's only max like 10 books that I have not read yet that we're getting rid of, so it's not gonna help that much, but you know, it's better than nothing. This was really fun, but also very humbling to be reading out loud, especially after a long day of work, and I just feel like my brain is frazzled. So I promise that I can read, but I've never been very good at reading aloud, so I'll take that L. This feels really good to get rid of all these books and just give them to a new home. Anyways, that is everything. I feel like this was really a bit unorganized and a bit chaotic, but hopefully you guys did enjoy this. I certainly did, and I'm excited to move with a few less books on my shelves. This is honestly like one whole box of books less to move, so that's fantastic. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!